A 78-year-old man in Detroit lost his house last year, not to a scammer, not to a bank, to his own county government. His wife had died. His income dropped. He fell $3,200 behind on property taxes, less than the cost of a used car, and the county seized his home, auctioned it for $91,000, and walked away with every single dollar. He received nothing. The document that would have prevented all of it was sitting on his county's website, completely free, the entire time. He just didn't know it existed. That is the only reason you're watching this video right now, because there are 5 documents standing between you and losing the home you spent your entire working life paying for, and the people who were supposed to tell you about them never did. Most of these cost nothing. Most take under an hour. And if you're over 60 and you own your home, you need all 5. This video is for educational purposes only and is not legal, tax, or financial advice. Consult a qualified professional before making decisions about your specific situation. Why is your paid-off home the target? Here's the thing most retirees never consider. The moment you make that final mortgage payment, your home disappears from every institutional watch list that's been protecting it. No lender monitoring the title. No bank checking whether something was filed against your property. You celebrate. But what actually happened is you remove the only set of professional eyes that were watching your deed. County public records are searchable by anyone, at any time, for free. Your name, your address, whether there's a mortgage, all of it is visible in about 30 seconds. When someone searches and sees no lien, they draw 2 conclusions. You have equity, and nobody is watching. That is precisely why free and clear homes owned by people over 60 are the most targeted properties in America, by scammers, by creditors, and sometimes by the government itself. Here are the 5 documents that change that. Document 1, the Homestead Declaration. Most retirees have never heard of this. That alone should make you angry. A Homestead Declaration is a single-page form you file at your county recorder's office. Once it's on record, your state's homestead protection law activates over your primary residence equity, and a specific dollar amount of that equity becomes legally off-limits to most unsecured creditors, medical debt collectors, credit card companies with a court judgment against you, civil lawsuit plaintiffs. None of them can force the sale of your home to collect. That equity becomes untouchable by law. The amounts vary significantly by state. Florida and Texas offer unlimited protection. Your home could be worth $3 million, and not a dollar of equity is reachable. California protects between $361,000 and $722,000, depending on your county. Massachusetts protects up to $1 million for homeowners over 62. Nevada protects $605,000, but here is the critical point. In most states, this protection is not automatic. You must file the form. Without it, you have zero protection, even if your state would have shielded $500,000 in equity. 1 page, notarized. Filed at your county recorder's office, free in most states, 30 minutes of your time. When wealthy families close on a property, their attorney files this before they leave the title company. It happens automatically because they have representation. For the average retiree, no one mentions it exists. 2 things it does not cover: mortgage foreclosure and the IRS. I'll address the IRS specifically in a moment because that's where retirees get blindsided most often. Document 2, the Property Fraud Alert. This is the one that makes people genuinely furious when they find out about it. Because it's free, it takes 5 minutes, and the county has never once told you it exists. Here's how deed fraud actually works. A scammer searches public records online for free and clear properties. This takes about 30 seconds. They target older homeowners, ideally people living alone. Then they forge a deed, walk it into your county recorder's office, and file it. In most counties across America, documents are filed first and questioned never. The recorder's office accepts the paperwork. There is no system in place to verify who actually owns the property. Once that forged deed is recorded, the scammer either takes out a loan against your equity or attempts to sell your home entirely. By the time you discover what happened, they've already borrowed against your property, or transferred your deed to a stranger. And now you're spending $10,000, $20,000, sometimes $40,000 in legal fees just to prove that you own your own house. In Clark County, a retired school teacher had exactly this happen. A forged deed was filed, accepted without question, and by the time she proved ownership, she was $4,000 in legal fees into a battle she never should have had to fight. The alert program that would have caught it within 24 hours was free the entire time. Most counties now offer a property fraud alert. Go to your county's website, search Property Fraud Alert, enter your name and property information. From that point forward, you receive an email notification within 24 hours whenever anyone records anything against your property. A deed, a lien, a transfer, anything. Document 3. Enhanced Title Insurance. When you bought your home, the title company handed you a policy at closing, and you likely signed it without fully understanding what it did and didn't cover. Here's what a standard title insurance policy actually does. It looks backward. It covers defects that existed before your closing date, hidden liens from a prior owner, forgery that predated your purchase, title errors that go back decades. That's it. That's the full scope. If someone forges a deed on your property tomorrow, or 3 years from now, or 15 years from now, your standard title insurance does nothing. You're completely exposed. An enhanced owner's title policy looks forward. It covers forgery of documents after your closing date, identity theft, fraudulent deed transfers that haven't happened yet, and critically, it typically covers the legal fees to fight those attacks, which can easily reach $20,000 to $40,000 or beyond. This one is not free. It costs money to upgrade. But here is the question to ask your title company this week. Is my current policy standard or enhanced? If it's standard, what does an upgrade cost? One phone call, 5 minutes. If that conversation saves you $40,000 in legal fees at 74, it will have been the highest return call you ever made. I need to stop here and address something that most people making videos about home protection deliberately skip. If you owe the IRS money, a federal tax lien overrides everything I've described so far. The Homestead Declaration won't stop it. Your title insurance won't stop it. A federal tax lien is a legal claim against everything you own, including your home, and it takes priority over almost any other protection. For retirees, this happens more than you'd think. You complete a Roth conversion and underestimate the tax liability. You receive a retroactive Social Security lump sum that bumps you into a higher bracket. You don't realize that your pension and Social Security combined trigger quarterly estimated tax payments. The IRS sends a notice. It looks like junk mail. You don't open it. 6 months later, there's a lien recorded against your home. In 2025 alone, the IRS issued over 760,000 levies. Federal tax liens were filed against hundreds of thousands of properties. Retirees on fixed incomes are especially vulnerable because unexpected tax bills hit harder when there's no cash flow to absorb them, and the penalties compound quickly. Here is what you must do. Open every piece of mail from the IRS, every single piece. If you owe money, set up an installment agreement immediately. The IRS has an online tool where you can do this yourself without calling anyone. Once you're on a payment plan and staying current, the IRS is required to pause escalating collection actions. If a federal tax line is already recorded on your property, speak with a tax professional about getting it released or subordinated. Formal processes exist for both. The IRS is the one threat no document in this video can shield you from. Staying current on your taxes is the foundation that everything else sits on. Document 4. The Revocable Living Trust. This one does two things simultaneously, and most people only know about one of them. The benefit most people have heard about is probate avoidance. Without a trust, your home passes through probate when you die. A public court process that typically costs 3 to 5% of your estate value. On a $500,000 home, that's up to $25,000 taken from whatever you leave behind. A properly structured trust bypasses probate entirely. The transfer is private, immediate, and costs your heirs nothing beyond what you paid to set it up. But the benefit fewer people know about is the protection it provides while you're still alive. When your home is titled in your personal name, It's searchable. Anyone scanning public records for vulnerable targets, elderly homeowners with no mortgage and no one watching the deed, can find you in seconds. Your name is right there. When your home is held inside a revocable living trust, the trust name appears as the owner, not yours. You still own the home. You still live in it. You still control it completely. Nothing about your daily life changes. But when a scammer runs a quick search looking for easy targets, your name doesn't surface. They move on. Cost to establish a trust, typically $1,000 to $3,000. 2 warnings. First, a revocable living trust does not protect assets from creditors during your lifetime. That's what the Homestead Declaration handles. You need both. They cover different threats. Second, and this is the mistake I've seen more than any other, retirees pay an attorney to create the trust, put the paperwork in a drawer, and never transfer the deed. The trust only protects you if your home is actually titled in the trust's name. Confirm that transfer happened. If you're not sure, check. Also worth noting, many states impose their own inheritance taxes well below the federal exemption threshold. Pennsylvania taxes estates at 4.5%, starting from $1. No exemption, no floor. A properly structured trust can reduce or eliminate that state-level exposure for your heirs. Document 5. The Senior Property Tax Exemption. This is the document the man in Detroit never knew about, and it's the one that might have saved his home. Nearly every state in America offers property tax reductions for homeowners over 60 or 65. These aren't small adjustments. In Texas, the over 65 exemption reduces your taxable value by up to $200,000 and permanently freezes your school district taxes. Florida freezes your entire property tax assessment. Georgia exempts school taxes completely for qualifying homeowners over 62. New York expanded its senior exemption in 2026 to reduce assessed value by up to 65%. Not one of these is automatic. You have to apply. In many states, the application deadline for 2026 is April 30th, weeks away. If you've been paying full property taxes since you turned 65 and never applied, you have been overpaying every single year, for every year you've been eligible. Call your county assessor this week. Ask what senior exemptions you qualify for and what the current deadline is. That one call could reduce your tax bill permanently. And permanently is a long time. And here's the connection that matters most. When your property tax bill is lower, falling behind becomes far less likely. That retired postal worker in Detroit didn't lose his home because he was careless. He lost it because his wife died, his income dropped, and $3,200 became impossible on a fixed income. A senior exemption filed years earlier might have shrunk that bill to something manageable. The Supreme Court ruled in 2023 that counties cannot retain surplus equity from tax sales, but that ruling only helps after you've already lost the home. These 5 documents are designed to make sure you never reach that point. Before you close this video, I want you to do one thing right now. Not tomorrow, not this weekend. Right now, pull up your county's website and search Property Fraud Alert. Sign up. It takes 5 minutes and costs nothing. That single action puts a 24-hour watch on the most valuable thing you own, and you'll have done more to protect your home in the next 5 minutes than most homeowners do in a decade. Then this week, make 2 phone calls. One to your county assessor asking about senior property tax exemptions and the deadline to apply. One to your title company asking whether your policy is standard or enhanced. Write those 2 numbers down before you do anything else. If this video saved you from a mistake you didn't know you were making, or if you know someone over 60 who owns their home and has never heard of any of these documents, share this video with them right now. 1 share could save someone's home. That is not an exaggeration. You've seen what happens when people don't know these things exist. Subscribe if you want to keep receiving information like this. Practical, specific, and built around protecting what you've actually earned. No fluff, no products to sell you, just the information your financial life depends on. And drop a comment below. Which of these 5 documents did you already have? And which one caught you off guard? I read every comment, and your answers shape what I cover next. The 5 documents are in the description below, along with links to your state's homestead exemption rules and county property fraud alert programs. Everything you need is 1 click away. You spent decades building this. 5 documents protected. Go get them.